Good morning, Dr. Brahmara.
Morning, Dr. Mara.
I'm wondering, I know I wasn't there for the last couple of days. I didn't have a chance to review that thing. I wonder what lesson we are doing now.
Well, I was not there yesterday, but day
Oh,
before
okay.
yesterday, we were, I think, on 27, verse 27 or
27.
28. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, life is a flicker, I think. Okay. I'll do the, you started the thing, the recording. Do the prayer song.
You can start.
Mhm. Oh. सहनौ भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तं वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये So, Dr. Savita or Mernal, I'm not sure who did. Shall I start from 28, verse 28? Or I didn't have a chance to review what you guys did yesterday.
Yes, Dr. Mara, can do that.
From 28?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
Can you go back one shloka? What is the previous shloka? 27?
27 is Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mrityasya tasmat
Very.
pariharte natvam sochitam arhasi.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because for that which is born, death is certain, and for that which is dead, birth is certain. So therefore, you should not grieve over that which cannot be altered. So, who are born, death is certain, which is dead, with birth is certain. That was about 27. Read the last paragraph. Krishna was saying that, saying here that life follows a rule. Let me see, I can enlarge this thing. Krishna was saying here that life follows a rule. Follows a rule. If the born dies, the dead will certainly be born. Conversely, if the dead are born, the born will certainly die. These are two different points of view, with the constant being the certainty. Therefore, what is there to cry about? With reference to a matter which cannot be altered, you do not qualify to be sad. Again, with reference to a matter which cannot be altered, you do not qualify to be sad, because you cannot bring about any change. If you could change this fact, it would be different, but you cannot. But Atma is always there and does not elicit any sorrow from you. For the Atma's sake, you need not be sad, nor do you need to be sad for the Anatma's sake either. This line in the Gita is therefore a very important one in that it says, "Let me accept what I cannot change." Okay, let me accept what I cannot change. The only alternative available is not to accept and, and to grieve. The point that Krishna is making here is that something that cannot be changed does not deserve any sorrow on your part. He emphasizes his point still further in the next verse. अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तम् अज्ञानि भारत अव्यक्तानि धन एव तत्र के तत्र तत्र का परिदेवना भारत भारत O Bharata, Arjuna, Bhutani, beings, Avyaktadini, being not manifest in the beginning. Avyakta means not manifest. In the Dini means, Adini means like in the beginning, looks like. Being not manifest in the beginning. Vyakta Madhyani. So, manifest in the middle. Vyakta Madhyani, manifest in the middle. Avyakta Nidanani. Avyakta Nidanani, not manifest in the end. Eva, indeed, Tatra, there, Ka, what, Paridevana, grief. Paridevana is grief. Bharata, Bhutani, Avyaktadini, Vyakta Madhyani, Avyakta Nidanani, Eva Tatra Ka Paridevana. All beings are manifest in the beginning. All beings are unmanifest, All beings are unmanifest in the beginning, manifest in the middle, and again unmanifest in the end. It is true, right? What indeed is there to grieve about, O Bharata? So all the life that we have is this the middle life. Unmanifest in the beginning, unmanifest in the end, manifest in the middle. What indeed is that to grieve about, O Bharata? The beginnings of all living beings, the beginnings of all living beings, including the elements themselves, are all unknown. They are not available for perception. We do not know what they were before or what happens to them after death. We do not see the soul leaving the body despite claims to the contrary. One second, I just need to get some light. Hold on. Okay. In fact, after death, we do not know what happens. We do not see traveling souls, which is just as well. If we did, we would probably coax them back, promising to treat them better, and so on, even when they do not want to return. If we had our way, we would quite likely push these souls back into their bodies and then afterwards quarrel with them as before. How nicely said. I'll read this paragraph from the beginning. I'll go from the beginning. The beginnings of all living beings, including the elements themselves, are all unknown. They are not available for perception. We do not know what they were before or what happens to them after death. We do not see the soul leaving the body, despite claims to the contrary. In fact, after death, we do not know what happens. We do not see traveling souls, which is just as well. If we did, we would probably coax them back, promising to treat them better, and so on, even when they do not want to return. If we had our way, we would quite likely push these souls back into their bodies and then afterwards quarrel with them as before. Perhaps it is to avoid such problems that we do not know what happens after death. We only know what is between birth and death. Even that is something like a traveling arrow. It emerges from the darkness. It emerges from darkness, avyakta, passes through a lighted area, vyakta, and disappears into the darkness again, avyakta. It is not known before and it is not known later. In between, it dazzles in light. In between, it dazzles in light. This is all life is about. This beep, glow, or flicker that we call life. Before the glow or flicker, we do not see the glowworm or the firefly. In fact, we never see it. We only see the light. And after the light has gone, again we see nothing. Since life is like a moving arrow traveling between birth and death, what is there to talk about? It is not even something that is staggered. It is just passing, always moving. Why the lamentation for this moving arrow? You cannot stop it anyway. In this glow, what is there to retain? That which is always eternal is always there, and in between there is some kind of life, nitya. That which is always eternal. I'll read this line one more time. That which is always eternal is always there, and in between there is some kind of life, mithya. The question then is, what is there to lament about? If there is something that is always there and that thing has a problem, okay, if there is something that is always there and that thing has a problem, then it can be lamented about. However, what is not subject to lamentation. It is reality, the truth, satya, and it is limitless ananda. Therefore, it is not subject to lamentation at all. Whatever else may be there is also not worth lamenting about. Why do people lament? But people do lament, even though life is just a beep in the eternal flow of time. They do have problems. They are concerned about their childhood, their marriage, old age, retirement, and what will happen to them after retirement. Within this one beep, all these decisions are made. So that is about why do people lament. So people continue to lament only because of self-ignorance. And this ignorance remains because there is no means of knowledge for knowing the self. The orientation of the individual is, I am small, I am a nobody. Even those who claim to know, those who call themselves saviors and who say that you must be saved, confirm that the Atma is small, subject to sin, and so on. The world also confirms these notions by its very dimensions and its overwhelming strength. Because you have a particular dimension and a limited powers, you find that you are helpless against bugs and certain other forces that are so overwhelmingly strong. You always find that you have to conform to these forces. Against them, you always feel that you are a nobody. Thus, everything confirms my notion that I am small, and this conclusion about the I is the problem. Introducing the next verse, Shankara agreed with Krishna that the Atma is not easily understood. Arjuna is not the only one who laments. He is not the only person subject to sorrow. Sorrow is universal. I'm going to read that paragraph again, because you have a particular dimension and limited powers. You find that you are helpless against bugs and certain other forces that are so overwhelmingly strong. You always find that you have to conform to these forces. Conform to these forces. Against them, you always feel that you are a nobody. Thus, everything confirms my notion that I am small. And this conclusion about the I is the problem. Introducing the next verse, Shankara agreed with Krishna that the Atma is not easily understood. Arjuna is not the only one who laments. He is not the only person subject to sorrow. Sorrow is universal. So we read about worry, lamenting. The significance of Shankara's commentary. Because we will be drawing on Shankara's commentary throughout our study of the Gita, a brief explanation on the place commentaries hold in the teaching tradition is in order here. The word Bhashya refers to a commentary on an original work. The Gita is an original work, and therefore Shankara's commentary of it is a Bhashya. For a work to be original in our context, it must have the status of a scripture or Shruti, meaning the Upanishads. If the Gita did not have the status of Shruti, any commentary of it would be called only a Vyakhyana. But Shankara's commentary is not a Vyakhyana, it is a Bhashya, because the Gita has the status of the original work. Any commentary on the Upanishads themselves, of course, is a Bhashya, because the Upanishads are Shruti. Providing what has been written in some is something more than the simple meaning of the verses. A commentary becomes a bhashya when it gives the meaning and also defends the meaning that is given. So it gives the meaning and also defends the meaning what that is given. That is bhashya. A person who has written a bhashya, is called bhashyakara. Tikakara refers to a person who has written explanatory notes, tika, for a bhashya. Tikakara is the explanatory note, tika for a bhashya. These notes serve to introduce the topic by explaining the sentences of the bhashya. Again, these notes serve to introduce the topic by explaining the sentences of the bhashya or a particular word in a sentence. A tika is not an independent work because it follows the bhashya, line by line, sentence by sentence. There is also another type of work called vartika, which is independent exposition in verse form on the bhashya itself, not on the original. A vartika is not a tika because it either goes beyond the bhashya or it is further explanation of the bhashya. The person who writes a vartika is called Vartikakara. So we got up Bhashyakara, Tikakara, and Vartikakara. There is a tradition, Sampradaya, in which certain people are recognized according to these categories. In Vedanta, by Vartikakara, for instance, we mean the oldest of Bhashyakara's four disciples, Sureshwara. We mean the oldest Bhashyakara's four disciples, Sureshwara. Again, when we say Bhashyakara, we mean Shankara. Patanjali is known as Mahabhashyakara, the Mahabhashya being the commentary on the sutras of Panini on grammar. Vyakarana Sutras. Vyakarana Sutras. Again, Patanjali is known as Mahabhashyakara, the Mahabhashya being the commentary on the sutras of Panini on grammar, Vyakarana Sutras. Tikakara generally refers in this tradition to Anandagiri, who wrote a Tika, I don't know what the dot below T would be. Tika. For all of Shankara's commentaries. To Anandagiri, who wrote Tika for all of Shankara's commentaries. So Tika means explanatory notes. There are many Tikakaras. Anyone who comments upon the Bhashya, sentence after sentence, as the traditional teacher does, becomes a Tikakara. Knowing then that the words Bhashyakara and Bhashya refers to Shankara and Shankara's commentaries respectively, we can proceed. So I wonder, would they pretty much what the significance of Shankara's commentary? So Shankara is the Bhashyakara who wrote Bhashya on this original work, Gita. And they talk about who is the Tikakara and Vartikakara and all that. So anyway, that was a short one. Is there anything you want me to repeat it before we go further? Or, I mean, do the manana on this? So the life itself is being explained as Abhyakta, and then in the beginning, which is unmanifest in the beginning, and Vyakta in the middle, Madhyamam, which is in the middle, and then Avyakta in the end also. So the only in the middle, there's that like shooting the arrow kind of, that arrow started already. Like that, it keeps on moving. It's not going to stop anywhere. So it's keep moving. So that is, and so anything that is born is sure to die. That has been explained in the previous verse. And in this verse, that we don't know what happens after death and where the soul is going, where we are going, and all that kind of stuff being explained. And then how that example was given, not example, basically, if you were to know what happens after death, then we're going to pull that soul and put it in the body again and fight with them as before.
That's
And
very
then,
various.
yeah, I mean, like, which is true, right? Basically, you want them to live for what? But to again go through the same suffering and these other issues, right? So For yeah, I couldn't believe, how much that the God thought of all these things in each and every living being, how it should be done, why it should be done, and all that. It
I
makes
know.
sense, right? Not to
Mind,
know, not to
mind blowing
remember.
it. Yeah.
Hmm?
Mind blowing it is. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Like just reading, even though we read this before,
Yes.
it's as if we are reading it again, but
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
more understanding,
I
right? Like,
felt the same way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's so beautiful how it's been explained why you shouldn't be worrying in the first place, and that all that reason is given in earlier verse, and then here even more that that glow or flicker or the light only in the middle, and then once it's gone, you don't see anything. Then what is this all about? All this. And then also there's one where it meant like you are feeling so small, basically because of these bugs and all that. I think whatever we are encountering in our life, right, we don't have control over it. And but that small is just identifying with the body and mind complex, so it's more of an atma rather than, if you really know your atma that time, then the atma is bigger than the, like Dr. Brahmara always says, like Guruji saying, we are bigger than that whole problem. But like that, that was really nice, that paragraph where it said, we are being small, like feeling small. And and then and then why the life is mithya is also because the one is, the atma is being eternal, it's always there, and the anatma is what is temporary, it's that is being in between, we being mithya, the life, the type of life that we have is mithya. Again, we had this always, like, how can you say it's illusion, how can you say it's mithya? Almost every verse trying to give you that information why it's mithya. And
Fe-
why do we, huh?
Feeling small is utterly, ignorance. You know.
Yeah, and then we think all those things are like definitely, that happens, right? When something happens to your child, or like fever or something, we feel like as if, that's the end of life, kind of, but still, um, because that time you want to come out of that suffering, we can't think about anything else, right? When somebody is in pain, or somebody going through some medical problem or something else, like you just feel like, oh my god, this is all the end of my life. Even that end of life, that we at that point, we don't realize ourselves, like real truth, like real truth, meaning like atman, who am I, that awareness is not there. That is the reason I think we time and again we feel that kind of a small uh, thing. And then why do people lament? That was nicely given also, like in the, because of the ignorance, and then you go through this changes of life, like childhood to middle age, the brahmacharyam, and then going to middle age. What do you call that? Vanaprastha, not vanaprastha. Wait, jayate, uh, viparinamate, jayate viparinamate. Four stages. You remember those names? Jayate,
You're
Parinamate,
talking of the different
the stages of life. Viparinamate, and then upper, no,
Jayate, Vardhate,
Vardhate, right. I keep
Viparinamate
remembering V.
apakshiyate vinashyatiti.
Right. I keep getting V and A, but I'm not getting any
Actually,
further.
it is 6, right? So, asti,
6, right.
jayate, vardhate, viparinamate,
Okay.
apakshiyate, vinashyatiti. Shad
Mm.
vikaravat etat stula shariram. No, but this
Mm.
vanaprastha you're talking about is the
Mm.
4 stages.
Stages of life.
Brahmacharya, not
Mm.
stages really, 4 ashramas.
Ashramas, yeah.
Brahmacharya,
Mm.
grihastha,
Yeah,
vanaprastha, and sannyasa.
right. I got mixed up. Okay, Brahmacharyam, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and then uh, Sannyasa is that right? Sannyasa. Okay. Right. So here, the reason I got that the changes in the life, right? Like that's what I was talking about. Okay. Like where it said the childhood, their marriage, and then old age, retirement, all that, we every stage we worry about all the time, and then unnecessarily we don't have that, this, that. That's because all this, the self ignorance. We talked about that. The orientation of the individual is I am small, I am a nobody. So, even those who claim to know, those who call themselves saviors, who say that you must be saved, confirm that the Atma is small, subject to sin, and so on. The world also confirmed these notions by its very dimensions and its overwhelming strength. Because all this illusion, mithya, that's the one feeds on to your senses. We think with all this perception and all of this mind and body conscious connection with the Atma, when we identify with body and mind complex, that's where the problem is. So we really have to identify with ourselves to the Atma. So please share your things. I mean, it's really very nice verse. This one is so beautiful. I'm sure all of them are, but so, did you guys, understand that unmanifest in the beginning and the end part? It's so beautiful, right? Before we were born, we don't know where we are, what we did, nothing. Same way, we don't know when we go also. That's the whole thing is like empty, unmanifest. Only now we know what is going on. How nicely said. What is the worry? Why you cry about, grief about?
Earlier verses, he said everything is a joke. He was saying
Mm-hmm.
everything is a joke. He was saying earlier.
Earlier words, yeah, I remember you guys are talking about it I was just listening. I think yesterday I couldn't, but yeah.
When this birth is a joke, death is a joke,
Mm.
Atma itself is a joke. He was saying.
Well, it's kind of, I don't know, I didn't understand that part, but I mean, can take it in a good sense, but not in a way of, not very seriously either. But at the same time, you have to do what you have to do in this life, and that's given, right?
What we cannot change, we have to accept and move on.
Mm. That was a very thing that was told, right? You cannot change anything, so why you have to worry about it? So that was in the previous verse. When you were, when you're born, that whatever is born is going to die for sure, and whatever died is going to be born. So this you cannot change. When you know you cannot change something, why you have to worry about it, or like grieve about it? So mm, just prepare for it, whatever it is.
Everything is as though it's, it looks real, as though.
So it's happening. Huh?
So
Uh, Sorry, I probably had to review the previous verses. I maybe whoever can add to it. Yeah, it is as though thing, right? As though uh, happening, whatever it's happening, as though it as though smiling, like Krishna is as though smiling, like. Should we move on to next verse, or you guys? I don't know. I just wanted to see what time it is. 38. Mhm. So knowing then the words of Bhashyakara and Bhashya refer to Shankara and Shankara's commentaries respectively, we can proceed. Acharyavat pashyati kashidenam Acharyavat vadati tataiva chanyah
It's
Acharyavachainam.
Ascharyavat.
Sorry, Acharyavat vakyena वाक्येन मन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्. Sorry, my tone is out of line here. Acharya, oh, Acharya, okay. When I saw art like word, I thought went to. Can you sing it, Dr. Brahma?
Yeah. आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Okay. Kachit, someone. Enam, this self. Acharyavat, as a wonder. Oh, this Acharyavat, as a wonder. I kept thinking about Acharya. Sorry. Acharyavat as a wonder. Pashyati, sees. Tata, similarly. Eva, indeed. Cha, and. Anyaha, another. Acharyavat, as a wonder. Vadati, speaks. Speaks. Anyaha cha. Okay. Anyaha cha, and another. Enam, this. Acharyavat, as a wonder. Shrinoti, hears. Kachit, someone. Cha, and Shrutva api, even after hearing. Enam, this. Naveda, does not know. Eva, at all. One looks upon, Kashit enam acharyavat pashyati tata eva cha anyaha acharyavat vadati anyaha cha enam acharyavat shrunoti kashit cha shrutva api enam naveda eva. One looks upon the self as a wonder. One looks upon the self as a wonder. Similarly, another speaks of it as a wonder, and another hears it as a wonder. Still another, even after hearing about the self, does not understand it at all. So nice. One looks upon the self as a wonder. Similarly, another speaks of it as a wonder, another hears it as a wonder. Still another, even after hearing about this self, does not understand it at all. Shankara begins his bhashya on this verse by saying that the Atma under discussion, Prakriti Atma, is not easy to understand. Durvijnaya. Okay. Durvijnaya. Okay. Vijnaya. Okay. Durvijnaya. Not easy to understand is Durvijnaya. The word Prakrita is a technical term meaning the topic under discussion, which is Atma here. Although one has to recognize Atma as Brahman, it is not easy and therefore not everyone comprehends it. I'll read it again. Although one has to recognize Atma as Brahman, it is not easy and therefore not everyone comprehends it. The cause for this confusion, Bhranti, okay, confusion is Bhranti, okay, between Atma and Anatma being universal. Okay, I'll read this line again. The cause for this confusion, Bhranti, between Atma and Anatma being universal. Sadharana, everyone is sympathized with. Everyone is sympathized with. No one is an exception. No one is an exception. Arjuna was not the only one lamenting his lot. Knowing this makes us feel that we are in good company. So we're near Arjuna. Modern group therapy does the same thing. Yeah. Modern group therapy does the same thing. You may start off thinking that you are the only one with a particular problem, but when you participate in group therapy, you discover that everyone is undergoing the same experience. Then you realize you are not alone, that many people have the same problem for which there is a cause. in the beginning, then there is validation, which is a good thing. Here too, Arjuna was given a boost. It was as though Krishna was saying, you are not the only one lamenting, Arjuna. Everyone has the same problem because ignorance is common to all. It is not the personal problem of any one person. Any one person, okay? It is not the personal problem of any one person. Ignorance of Atma is common to all and remains so because Atma is not easily understood. This verse explains why Atma is so difficult to understand. This verse explains why Atma is so difficult to understand. Like we talked about how mind is sanchala and it's so difficult to control. Now this is like difficult to understand Atma. The wonder of Atma. The wonder of Atma. Atma is always the wonder. Acharyavat. Sorry. Acharyavat. Uh, When you understand Atma, it is a wonder. And when you do not understand, it is a wonder to you how anyone can understand it. This wonder takes several forms. Atma is something never seen before, adrishtapurva, something that appears all of a sudden to one who has been taught by a guru, something that is striking. The student understands and looks at the Atma as a wonder. Acharyavat pashyati. Why? Because he or she now looks at himself or herself as a wonder. Oh my God. When I suddenly discover that I am the whole and everything is centered on me, everything is me, it is definitely a wonder. First, this reality of oneself seems to be an impossibility. Then it becomes a vague possibility. And finally, it is real true. I'll read this again. When I suddenly discovered that I am the whole and everything is centered on me. Okay, I am the whole and everything is centered on me. And everything is me. It is definitely a wonder. First, this reality of oneself seems to be an impossibility. Then it becomes a vague possibility, and finally it is real, true. Anything that is experienced by me is myself. I am all the sounds, I am all the forms and colors, I am all the smells and sources of smell, and I am all the tastes and the sources of taste. Not only I am the food, I am also the one who eats the food. Otherwise, I would be eaten up. I am even the one who made the Vedas. I am not merely a reader of the Vedas. I am its author. I am the one to be understood by means of the Vedas. I am the one who is the Lord Brahma, the creator, or the entire cosmos. Wow. Previously, we thought we are under the rule of the ruler, whose law is the rule of Dharma. But for every eon kalpa, there is said to be one such ruler. Thus, we are presently under Vaivasvata Manu's law. Okay, Vaivasvata Manu's law. This Manu is the son of Lord Surya. We have been under the armpit of this law, but now, having understood the Atma, we say, I am Manu, Ham Manuhu. Anyone who was there in the past was me, and in the future, anyone who is going to be there is me. Anything that is here now is also me. This is entirely a wonder because previously we could never have believed that we were everything. Previously, we could never have believed that we are everything, the truth of the whole creation. The opposite definitely seemed to be the case. So beautiful. This very vision Darshana of the Atma, the knowledge of Atma is a wonder, Acharya. And when we listen, Shravana, to the explanation of this Atma, it is another wonder. To hear that you are the truth of everything, Satya, the source of all happiness, anyone's happiness, Param Brahma, is a wonder. Every creature in the world picks up small flakes of happiness, Ananda, all of which are from the original mountain or ocean of the Ananda, which is you. Wow. Thus, when the teacher talks about the Atma, he or she describes it as a wonder. Acharyavat anyaha enam vadati. Atma is a wonder all the way. It is Satchit Ananda. And at the same time, it has created this entire world without undergoing any change. It has created this entire world without undergoing any change. Talking about Atma is itself a wonder because we are talking about something that is not available for words, that it is infinite and appears as though finite, without undergoing any change, without assuming any particular Nama Rupa, is a wonder. All the Nama Rupas are Brahman alone, and the Brahman is you, the Atma. That the teacher can talk like this and get away with it is definitely yet another wonder. And after listening to the teacher, the students also talk among themselves about what a wondrous thing the Atma is. Everything about Atma, therefore, is a wonder. Lastly, it is wonder that it cannot be understood even after having heard about it. Shrutva pi enam veda cha eva kachit. Just as a very subtle joke is not understood, people do not understand Atma at all. Okay, this is where the joke is, right? Just as a very subtle joke is not understood, people do not understand Atma at all. It has to be explained to them. Brahman appearing as a jiva, the bondage for the jiva, and the freedom from the bondage, moksha, are all nothing but a big joke, a greatest joke ever, in fact. Therefore, life itself is a joke, as can be seen by analyzing any one thing. Oh, okay, this is what the joke is about. Okay, life is like a very subtle joke. Life is like a very subtle joke. If you analyze a thought, there is no thought at all. Where does any given thought begin and where does consciousness end? Whatever you confront in the world is nothing but your thought. That there is a world for you is because you have a thought. When you ask how far is any given thought true, so when you ask how far is any given thought true, where does the consciousness end? Where does thought begin? You will find that there is only consciousness, there is no thought. There is no beginning of the thought, there is no form of the thought. All that is there is consciousness. This is both the beauty and the joke of the Atma. The whole thing is a continuous joke. There is as though an original joke, and then afterwards a variety of secondary jokes, one after the other. Marriage is a joke, and the children are the secondary jokes. Childbirth is itself is a joke, and so are the birth pangs. Thus, there is one continuous joke within which there are lamentations. If the original joke is not understood, you will not understand other jokes. The original joke should be understood as a joke, then all other jokes become jokes quite naturally. The lost joke, perhaps, is that there will always be someone who, okay, the lost joke, perhaps, is that there will always be someone who, after listening to Vedanta, will say, please tell me what the teaching is. This is like the man who listened to a musician sing Bhupali. I think you did read these things, right? The name of a particular melody, raga, in Hindustani music for an hour. He was nodding his head as though he understood the music very well. At the end of the rendering, however, the man said to the musician, Panditji, please sing Bhupali next. Am I reading correctly? Understanding. Okay, right. We have only 4 minutes. So let me see. Bhupali, the name of a particular melody, raga, in Hindustani music for an hour. He was nodding his head as though he understood the music very well. At the end of the rendering, however, the man said to the musician, Panditji, please sing Bhupali next. Similarly, there is always someone in the audience who, at the end of the Vedanta talk, will say, "I did not understand anything. I saw nothing in it at all." If someone else expressed his or her appreciation of what was said, the first person may accuse that the person of having been swept away, of not having retained his or her independent thinking, of having lost himself or herself in the sea of meaningless words. Faced with such criticism, the person who understood may begin to doubt whether there had ever been a time when he or she had thought independently. That some people can listen to the teaching about the Atma and not understand is another wonder. Because it is the wonder, it is not easy to understand. Only a few people can understand such wonders. Even a simple joke is not understood by everybody, much less the Atma joke. Because it's too big a joke, no one can say it is easy to understand. Therefore, it is no wonder that having listened to talks about Atma, some people do not understand, or that people do not understand can also be taken as a wonder, since what is to be understood is themselves. All that is being talked about is oneself, self-evident fact. We experience this Atma all the time. Only because of the Atma do we experience the world. Everything in the world is unlike Atma. This Atma is this Atma as Ananda is very evident in moments of joy when we discover ourselves to be full, Purna. But still, even when it is pointed out that we are that whole we do not understand, which is another wonder, Shrutva api enam Vedanacha eva kachat. So the time is almost close to 2 minutes more. Sorry, I kind of carried away with this so beautiful thing. I didn't stop anywhere, but we still need to repeat this whole thing again. Acharyavat. Oh, how many pages we have? 252. Okay. So I left it here. The life is like a subtle joke. 248. Another 4 pages left here, but we have to repeat the whole thing. Isn't that amazing to read about this Atma's wonder? And we always talk about such Chachit Ananda and stop there. Eternal, Nitya, Vyakta, all that stuff. Now they gave a whole glimpse of what Atma is like. I mean, if you realize Atma, what it's like, how you feel and all that, right? I mean, Darshana of the Atma. So, oh, Dr. Brahmaraj, so 7 o'clock already. Shall I stop here and then do you want to play the meditation? I'll end here. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.